I didn't order it through them. Crap.
And we're live.
Oh, what are they called? Oh, DCB.
What are they called?
Yeah, the other company. I'm like
The other one that I order from.
I just order token from them just to keep my account going, and
It was
if
like
I miss something on Westfield, I'll get it from.
It's like that 6 months where I thought I'd be fancy and go, okay, I'm buying all my Boom stuff from this store. And I'm buying all my other stuff from this store. That way I can sort of, it made sense in my head. It's the dumbest thing to do, but it made sense in my head at the time. And I was like, nope, this is all a bad idea.
Crapola. I didn't order it from them either.
Oh,
Shite.
I'll get you a copy. I've got multiple copies. Because I'm like that.
I can't believe that I didn't. Oh, that is just not cool.
Yeah, like I said, I bought a couple copies, one to give away on the show. So, but then I've got an extra one too, so I'll just send it to you. You've bought enough books off of me. I can spot you this one.
Oh, cool! Thanks, man.
Alrighty. So we're at episode 5 already for this season. That's crazy. Time is just flying by. All right. I got what's going on, Doug? Doug is in the chat. Good to see you, sir. We will be getting started here in just a few moments. I'm sure Terry will come flying in for a second or two.
I don't know. I think she's watching the Real Housewives of Ballroom Dancing show.
Oh, yeah. I wondered if y'all are going to be watching that one.
Yeah, she is watching it. I watched about 3 issues, and after vomiting during the second, I was like, yeah, I'm not. That Real Housewives mentality is just not.
Yeah, that runs rampant in my house.
Wow. I can't deal with that.
And whatever that other show is that spun off of it. Are you guys going to Heroes Con? I don't know, Ed. Are you going to Heroes Con? You and Terry making the trip?
Be down there all day Friday and probably Saturday morning.
Cool.
Then we're heading home. Because we got wrestling tickets we got to go to Saturday night.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I am probably not going to be there.
Because Chris always schedules 3 or 4 things around Heroes, and
I schedule 3 or 4 things around every day that I don't work.
That's what it is. So
I managed to make 2 or 3 of those things happen. No, so my reasoning, I'm in a very particular place when it comes to comics these days, when it comes to buying comics. And I'll leave this up in case anybody else walks in and wants to know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm personally in a particular place where, like this week, I just cut my entire pull list, which was like 40 plus titles. Cut my entire pull list down to basically my must-have 5 books. One of them is a miniseries, and one just starts like in a week or 2. The other one's a reprint, and then one of them is Savage Dragon. So, and then Boom Studios books for the show. So, the reason for that is so that I can finally focus on buying back issues of series that I've been not buying, that I've been wanting to for a very long time.
What do they have at conventions, Chris?
The problem is I need to catch up on the buying part of the stuff that I have already pre-ordered. And so that stuff is still coming in. So I've got to do good by my shop and buy my stuff. Not leave it and abandon them, kind of thing. So, because
they have cheap bins at conventions.
I know they do. The
You know, I
problem
mean,
is I'm not in a place where I can just go and say, I'm just gonna buy whatever I find in the dollar bin because I will. And I don't want to do that. So
okay.
uh so yeah. So I'm more staying away from Heroes Con, not because I don't want to go, because I really, really want to go. But I feel like I would be too tempted to spend too much money on stuff that I'm not gonna really want to be collecting just a month from now. So I've got, Teen Titan stuff I gotta, finish collecting. I've got, by Green Arrow stuff I gotta finish collecting. Savage Dragon stuff I still have to finish filling in holes. Um, and then, the Boom stuff. I gotta fill a bunch of holes. Um, I have discovered that not many people have Boom back issues.
No,
Not
not
f
at
not from
conventions.
not 5 years or
No,
older.
no.
They've got Something Is Killing forward, but anything prior to Something Is Killing, not so much.
Nope.
And so it is very hard to find Boom back issues. Um, find Boom back issues that are at a reasonable price. I'm not looking for dollar books. I'm looking for reasonably priced stuff. I think a lot of folks, smaller shops, I don't know, even smaller shops, just shops in general, I've noticed, will there's something about um, Boom's back issues that that retailers feel, even small shop, even like the single guys who just sell books and do booths and stuff like that at conventions like this, they feel like there's a speculatory value that they need to put on all of their books because one book, two books, three books did really, really well. They're optioned. They're eventually, maybe going to be a TV series or a movie or whatever. So that runs the potential for everything, has that potential. So, like, take Butterfly, for example.
Mhm.
So, Butterfly, when they initially announced it, what, a month ago, month and a half ago,
Yeah, something like
it
that.
was, it went from, being cover price everywhere or less for the first issue, and it bumped up to maybe 10 or 15 bucks, 20 bucks at the most on eBay or something like that. And then that kind of died down. And then we just talked about two weeks ago about, it getting, the full treatment and getting however many episodes it was going to get, and we're good to go. Well, that book now has skyrocketed to 70 and $80 on eBay. So there's a and with good reason, there's a lot of stuff that Boom puts out or has put out in the last 10 plus years that could easily be done because they're all Boom does miniseries. They do 4 issue, 6 issue miniseries, 12 issues at most for the most part. And so you can it's the perfect pitch. Here's 4 issues. Read this. Let me know what you think. Think we can make something out of it? We can? Cool. All right, let's go. Make the announcement. And then those books jack up in price. So there's sort of this preemptive, uh, inflated value that gets put on a lot of these Boom books that I'm looking for. Um, and so it's makes it really hard. And so I kind of have to sneak around to comic shops looking for back issues that not many people have heard about,
Mhm.
you know, to buy those now because I mean, a year ago, no one thought Butterfly was going to
No.
be a thing. Really good series. I reread it, the other day just to kind of, have it in my brain. I know we're eventually going to talk about it on the show, and I'm really glad I have those issues because if I had not, and then needed them to talk about them on the show, I'd have to, I'd go buy the trade,
Yeah, but
but I'm a single issues guy,
yeah. Yeah, those would be pretty tough to come by at
yeah.
a decent price now.
So yeah, and I would be, and I think at Heroes Con or any convention and stuff like that, those guys are trying to, and no fault of their own, they're trying to make some money. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
business, and they're trying to make money. They're trying to make their fees back, their travel expenses, all this stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of money for any kind of comic book store or just single guy retailer guy who does eBay and Instagram or whatnot and whatever, trying to not just break even but make a profit so he can make a living on. And so they do that. I don't fault them for it. It just makes it really hard for me as a diehard fan who just wasn't able to buy all those books, or like two instances before had to sell all those books because financial reasons.
Right.
And so now I don't have them. I did have them. Now I'm having to buy them back. So yeah, it makes it tough. So but anyway, so that's why I'm not going to Harris Con. Too tempted to buy everything. So all right. I guess we can go ahead and get into the show. That was a little pre-show of whatnot. So this is episode 5, season 4. All right. And you ready, sir?
Yep. Ready to go.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode number 5, season 4. We're going to be talking about comics from Boom Studios tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. If you're catching us on the Facebook group or YouTube or even Boom Addiction's own Twitter handle, thank you very much for joining us here live. We do this live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We try and get the notice out at least a couple hours before we go live. If not, you can almost bank that this is where you'll find us every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're hoping to have some fun tonight. I know we've got not as many books. This is a small week. Last week was a small week. This is a small week. I feel like next week is not going to be a small week, and I think even after that, it's going to be another bigger week. So, I just as a request to Boom, if you can level out your books, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's, keep them to. I guess what would they have to do? Probably keep them to 3 to 4 a week.
Something like that, yeah.
4 would be 16. Yeah, I don't know if they have too many more than 16 titles coming out right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, rather than like 2229 or so it's like, oh, come on.
I do I use leavecomicgeeks.com as my sort of shipping list, kind of keeping up with things. And so I have obviously all of Boom's books listed on my thing. So I kind of look, all right, this week has got this. So sort of playing out in my head how many books I have to buy, plus how many books we're going to talk about in a future show and stuff like that. And then, yeah, it does do that. It's like, 2, 2, 6, 3, 9. It's like, oh my god,
oh man,
and it's a lot of one shots and stuff like that. So especially with Power Rangers and and Buffy and stuff like that. So the licensed stuff, does get a little more of those kind of treatments and stuff. So yeah, it does kind of fluctuate from time to time. It's not a horrible thing. I mean, it's good. It's a lot of books to read. Sometimes it's too many books, but yeah. And so it's so tonight we've only got 2 books, so it'll be a pretty laid back show. So, but yeah, we just good times. So, all right, so let's go ahead and dive into FOC, that is not the layout that I wanted. I wanted that layout. So, would you like to jump into FOC, sir?
Sure thing. We're starting off with the second printing of Fence Redemption number 1 of 4.
We haven't even talked about it yet, and it's already sold out.
Yeah, really. Did they announce it earlier today, or did they announce it yesterday that it sold out?
No, it was today.
Earlier today, this morning. Okay. Yeah. But also, FOC is for issue number 2. Yeah. So you can get 1 and 2 actually by, as we have explained before, you can order it by Monday, probably. That's what Diamond wants, but check with your shop because they may have an earlier date between now and Monday. So keep that in mind. But it's a rare occasion that you actually have a chance to catch up on single issues, and that's just because this is a second printing, which as far as the story goes, is as good as a first printing. I mean,
For sure.
so. All right. The second issue looks like they've got showing up a couple covers here. One by Joanna, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Johanna, and the other by Pagowska. We also have the 11th issue, which is probably starting to wind down the second
Oh no, this is the first of a new arc.
for Grimm.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, is it? 10. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So we're
Well, yeah, new arc, it's still a
a
continuing
new,
story.
yeah, well, a
But
new movement, if you want to
yeah,
call it,
yeah.
So, issue 11. So it looks like we have, well, we have a bunch of covers. They
Yep.
are soliciting A, B, F, and G, not like F and, but F, comma, G. It's, yeah. So,
That's an F and
uh,
G good book.
so that's what A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So
Yep.
that's 7 covers in actuality.
Yep.
So we also have Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, issue number 7. We have 2 covers there for that issue, as that's an ongoing, isn't it?
Well, it's 12 issues.
Oh, is it 12? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're past the halfway point on that one.
Hmm. Oh no, excuse me. It's 15 issues.
15. Okay.
5-issue arcs. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I knew there was something. So we're halfway through the second, again, movement of At the End of the World, if you want to look at it that way. Sirens of the City, issue number 1. We have, well, A, B, C, D, E,
It's
F,
9.
G, H, I. Yeah, dude. They're showing us 3 with 2 more images to come. So that's 5. So there are
And we've
4
seen the
that aren't
Scotty Young
pictured.
variant, the FOC variant. That's at least been
Mhm.
on. I think Boom has shared
Th
that either on
Yeah, they
Twitter
showed
or
it,
something
didn't
like
they?
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't
the
know.
first issue of that,
Is this Scotty Young's first Boom variant?
oh,
His
that I
first
don't
cover?
know. That I'm not sure. You would have to
I
maybe
don't know.
do a little bit of digging. That might be hard to come by. You could ask him.
I
Get on
could, yeah,
Twitter. Get on
yeah.
Twitter and ask him.
I'll have to do that.
Um, Final FOC book is a book that I have been waiting to come out. Vicious Circle issue number 2.
Yep,
Oh, I have been waiting for this. So
yep.
looking
I'm
forward
pretty
to that
excited
with
for
that
that one.
Libramejo et al. Art. But he, in the first issue at least, he did such a masterful job of changing up styles.
Oh yeah,
He was just, it was a tour de force, in essence, of Bermejo, and what he is capable of doing to some extent. I'm sure that didn't completely stretch him yet. Maybe this second issue will, and he'll throw out some more styles that he didn't use in the first issue. We'll have to
yeah,
wait and see.
yeah. If you missed out on that first issue, shame on you.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that was good lord. That the amount of style, the amount of art styles that he used in that book alone, just for like 1 or 2 pages each. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was.
it was so good.
And this
Uh,
isn't telling us how many pages. I'm assuming at 9.99 it's going to be as big as the first issue was.
oh yeah, yeah. I'm
So
assuming they're going to be the same size. Yeah,
yeah, okay,
yeah. So we got 3 of those issues coming.
yeah,
So this will be number 2. So I'm
that's
pretty
awesome. And we'll
pretty
have to wait
stoked.
another 8 years to get the third issue, like we already have.
Uh, it actually, what has it been, 4 months, 5
Four,
months? I mean, I'm that's fine.
4, I think 4 months.
Yeah, once a quarter.
Yeah, yeah, it seems to be about that.
We get the trade on the 4th quarter, or maybe it's an oversized
Well,
hardcover.
well, I mean, they're going to have time that they can put it out the same month that they put the third issue out. If
Sure.
they want to.
Maybe it'll be out the same time Berserker Volume 3 is out for Kickstarters.
Yeah, we don't really want
Oh.
to talk about that. Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
I'm sorry. I
Mhm.
didn't mean to do that to
No, no, that's okay.
you. I realize that's a sore
Oh,
subject for you.
well, to be honest, I don't think, seen it solicited yet
Oh, okay.
to know when it's gonna drop, you know?
Yeah, true.
Uh, I just have, um, I have, uh, I have altered my mentality concerning projects like that as offered on Kickstarter. I'll put it that way. I think that's pretty
Okay.
political. So, I have ordered some subsequent Boom stuff as well, so obviously I'm not that butthurt.
It's not deterring you. Yeah.
Yeah, off a Kickstarter, I mean. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It just it doesn't seem like fulfillment in actuality was what I expected when the Kickstarter started, and
Yeah.
that could be me. Uh, I I don't really think it is because I have over 100 Kickstarters that I've supported, so I've
Yeah.
seen every permutation possible, and
Yeah.
uh, so
All right. So on a positive note, so
yes,
the Skinwalker Ranch Kickstarter ended today.
yes,
So I'm pretty psyched about that. I do have a question. Did you up your tier, your backing, so that you got the document?
no, no,
Okay.
that was
I was just curious.
that that was a
This
little
whatever
bit
that
more of an
secret document
investment,
thing was.
yeah, that I wanted to do. It was very tempting, but no,
I
I
just wanted to check. I
couldn't
saw
justify that.
them tweet about it or on TikTok or something, and I was like,
Mhm,
I've got to ask Ed about
mm.
this just to make sure
Yeah, that was
because I'd be very
they
jealous.
they hooked me, and boy, they reared back on that fishing pole with that one. I was like, "Oh," yeah, but
uh, not so much. Not this
nope, nope,
time.
didn't pull the trigger. Shook
So
the hook on that, so I'm good.
yeah, there'll be plenty of other opportunities,
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure.
Yeah, there'll be something that they'll throw
They've
out, and I'll be like, "Okay, I can't say no."
they've got this Kickstarter thing sort of mapped
It's
out. So
yeah,
looking
it's,
for the next thing. So, but yeah, I did think that this was a very sort of unique
mhm,
project to do it this way. Unlike the Berserker thing or whatever, even the Expanse thing. I think that this was if they're going to do stuff like this. Skybound does some of this stuff too, with some Kickstarters, just some stuff that they don't normally or they wouldn't publish through comic shops or something like that.
right.
That is more of a I don't say mainstream, but more of a wide has a wider book market feel to it.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I'm curious to see whatever the next one will
Yeah.
be.
Now, I will say, I just got the graphic novel.
Oh, same here. Yeah, that's
I
all
did
I
not
got.
get the new edition of the prose.
I
So,
I stopped reading prose books a couple of years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, because I don't have a retention span for like audiobooks. I'm good.
mhm,
I can listen to those all day. But me sitting down trying to read a prose novel is super hard to do, and it's unfortunate because the books I did buy a couple of books that I was super excited about reading,
right.
and just I made it a couple chapters over the course of like several months.
Can
I was like,
I is, nonfiction are nonfiction books affected that way also?
It doesn't matter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
A and do you think that is training because of the amount of comic books you've read?
oh, no doubt. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, 'cause
I've not really thought about it that way, but yeah, I would not doubt it one bit.
I that is what I've always attributed to. I will force my way through prose novels. I mean, I
Mhm.
will keep hammering until I get done, but I do notice that the amount of time I can probably sit and read is about the same as like a good 64-page comic.
Oh,
That's
okay,
about
yeah.
as long as I can do it.
Now I
And I
used to
think that's why,
read books, I mean, like novels from like a very young age. I mean, like very young, like 5 or 6.
right?
And I can remember, obviously going to like the Scholastic Book Fair and stuff like that and buying tons and tons of speaking of Skinwalker Ranch, very spooky kind
Mm,
of books. Not goosebumps, but like really horror books and stuff like that that they would let kids have.
right.
And I would buy tons of them. And anytime I was at home, if I was homesick for some reason, it would just be me in the bed,
With
with a
books.
stack of those
Yep,
books sitting, and I would burn through them in a day or two. I mean,
yep.
that was all I loved reading. So it's not that not like public school system failed me or anything. It
No,
actually did the other thing. It really encouraged me to read a lot. It's just, I don't know. You may be right. Having read, you know, a lot of comics, my
yeah,
brain sort of is like,
that's right.
I only
I
have
think
this much attention for it.
we've
So
trained ourselves, or at the very least, we've trained ourselves to be able to stick to something for 15, 20 minutes and then read something completely different for
exactly.
15 or
Yeah.
20 minutes. And then,
Yep.
and so, yeah,
Yep.
that's my supposition, anyways.
Yep.
All right. So, what's coming out next week, Chris?
Next week we are going to be getting a trade paperback that is Firefly Return to Earth. This is volume 1. It says it's not being verified by Diamond, so I'm not sure who would verify it. I'm also going by, if you're listening to the show on the podcast, going by comiclist.coms or gocollect.com, whoever owns it now. But yeah, it's not a Diamond website. But it's saying it's not verified, so you might want to check with your local shop if you're looking for that one through the comic shop. If not, it might be a bookstore. So moving on, Ghost Lore number 2 of 12. This is Cullen Bunn's new series. We'll get 5 covers on this. 3 of them are virgin variants. So I'm assuming one of them is a black and white one. Maybe. Just because there's 2 cover or 2 color ones and then
And then the
the
one
3.
person doesn't have an A or B or
Oh,
whatever
that's true.
cover.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
yeah, so the A and the B have virgin variants, but
Yep.
then the Javier Rodriguez
Yep.
doesn't.
That's
So I
right.
bet if there's a black and white, I bet that's the black and white.
Yeah. See, Magic Planewalkers Noble, the Magic one shot. That's got 4 covers. That's got a $7.99 cover price on it. So even though we don't have the series in the ongoing series, we still have it in one shots. I don't know. I know they just solicited. We talked about it last episode. They're soliciting another one shot from Magic. So I don't know if that's going to be sort of the way they do Magic right now for the time being or not. But at least we're getting something related with
So
that.
yep.
We also get, whoops, as I scroll way past it,
Oh,
it was a very sensitive mouse. Something is killing the children, pen and ink number 1. We've got 3 covers for that. The cover A, we got a cover B, which is a spot UV variant, which I've seen. It's a white cover with the House of Slaughters uh,
logo.
logo on it. Is it Slaughter's logo that's the one that we
Mm,
know, or is it the House of Demas cover logo? Either
I
way,
thought,
it's the logo that we all know.
yeah, I thought it was Slaughter.
Yeah, it may be, and I'm just overthinking it. So it's got that, and then there's a blank cover as well. And then Something is Killing the Children, Volume 6. This is a $14.99. I'm gonna take a quick look and see what is in this particular one. It is issues 26 through 30. So that's that story arc, or
Right.
those issues for that particular arc is 31. Again, still an ongoing series, but it's sort of like the next moment kind of thing. So, and then issue 31 begins, I think, the final the final arc of this particular big story, which in my brain means another deluxe hardcover will be solicited at some point.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so I'm super excited for that. Now, if you listen to, was it Boom Direct that it was said that so everybody knows I'm a big fan of Once and Future, and was curious about the next deluxe edition hardcover whenever that was going to come out, because that's they were going to split it into 2. I was given word either through listening to Boom Direct, or maybe it was even on Twitter, like me and Mike Smith, friend of the show, uh, inquired about it, and we're told, while there's no exact date, it is in some sort of production. And so we were assuming by Christmas. Just because of the way, and I can't remember exactly what the wording was, but just the way it was worded, it sounded like it was sooner than later. And we're getting, solicitations for August. So we're assuming another month or two, and then we might get a solicitation for it. So,
Cool.
but don't quote me on any of that. I'm just anticipating.
Chris said
Chris said I'm supposed to have it solicited, and it's not. So I won't.
that's it.
Now.
Where is it?
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, don't do that. That's not what I want this show to be known for. It's like wild speculation about when books are supposed to be coming out, and then people actually holding Boom accountable to it. They're like, Chris and Ed, they said that it only made sense that this book should be out. Yeah, don't do that. All right, so that's Final Order and new releases. Now, as far as like news and stuff like that, we didn't get a whole lot of news. We got some previews of some upcoming books. That's where the Grim 11. I remember that's the beginning of the next arc or whatever,
Right.
because they're really kind of pushing that, so people would come check that out. But then we also had the Fence Redemption sellout. So
Right.
that first issue of that is now sold out. And what was I going to? I was going to read. I was going to look at the press release if I can.
I've got it
up.
right here.
Oh, do you? Okay, go for it.
Boom Studios today revealed that Fence Redemption #1, the first issue of a brand new 4-issue limited series in the GLAAD Media Award-nominated sports comic series from USA Today best-selling author C.S. Pacat, acclaimed cartoonist Joanna the Mad, colorist Joanna Lafuente, and letterer Jim Campbell has sold out at the distributor level. Return to the thrilling world of high-stakes competitive fencing with the next exciting chapter of Fence, featuring the beloved cast of the original hit series. And this is the 3rd volume. Is that right? The first volume was individual.
Oh no, this is the 5th volume.
Okay. So there's been several trades.
There's the first series itself was 12 issues. So that was 3 trades, 4 issues each. And then it went to just trade paperbacks. And so that was for 2 volumes, 4 and 5. And now we're in sort of 6th volume.
Okay. Are CG and Jesse really through? The rumors around Halverton have spread like wildfire, but it's not long before a mysterious new fencer arrives, one who may finally pose a threat to the #1 spot on the prestigious fencing training camp. In response to the overwhelming support from retailers and fans, Boom Studios has announced Fence Redemption 1 second printing, featuring brand new cover art by highly acclaimed cover artist Miguel Macado, available in stores July 5th, 2023. And the final order cutoff is the current final order cutoff, whenever that may be for you in particular. Fence is back, said Philip Sablick, president, publishing and sales, Boom Studios. C.S.
I hope he said it just like that, too.
He probably did.
Like J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, with a cigar stuck in the corner of his mouth. Yes. Joanna and Jim's triumphant return to single issue format has once again made us all super fans of the all-star characters of Halverton. And then they go on to tell you about more about the book and the people and what other creations the creators have been into and things like that. Digital copies can be purchased from content providers including Comixology, iBooks, Google Play, and Kindle. I'm not familiar with iBooks. I don't know if I've ever heard of them.
Yeah. Is that Apple?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess because it's lowercase.
Throw an I in front of it.
Yeah. And the final line here, be sure to catch up on Fence volumes, as you said, 1 through 5, available anywhere books are sold.
Yep. And then another press release that we got, and I'm going to throw this up on the screen just so everybody can see it. Boom. So they're also it seems like every week Boom's got a new store exclusive variant or something.
Just about. At
they're
the
really
very least
cranking
every
them.
couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, they're really cranking these things out. So for Fence Redemption #1, they have a Boom Studios Prod exclusive. This is 24.99. It's only 500 uh, in stock, so that's all they got. So once they sell out of 500, they're done. This is limited 500 each copy sold. Boom Studios was proud to donate all the proceeds to the Trevor Project, the world's largest suicide prevention and crisis intervention organizations for LGBTQ young people. To learn more, their life-saving mission, please visit their website. So I had seen this. I think they started posting this up a day or two ago,
Hmm.
so they usually get it around Wednesday or whatever the book, the actual book comes out. That's when they put the variant out. So, but yeah, so they've got a lot of great exclusive covers are up. They're all about $25 or so. But I do think this is pretty good. This is, it's not a portion of the proceeds go
Hmm.
to this, all of the proceeds. So you're
Yeah.
donating $25 to the Trevor Project as well as getting this variant cover. Now this is just a image. I'm not sure if there'll be a logo or I don't know. I hadn't bought too many. I hadn't bought any of the exclusive covers yet, so I don't know if they
Right.
put logos on them or not. So there
Actually,
you go.
probably the way to consider it is that a copy of the first issue with this cover is a thank you for donating $25 to the
Yeah,
Trevor Project.
that makes total sense to me.
I think that's a cool way to think about it.
Yep. So good book, good cover, good donation. So cool. All right. So and that was it. That's all really the news that we've
That's the
had coming
news.
out from Boom.
Yep.
Um so I guess it's that time where I guess we talk about the books.
Books. What?
Books. We have books. We got some comics. We're gonna read some
Dang.
comics, talk about the comics.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited about that. So let's see. Where do you want to start, sir?
Well, let's go ahead and start with this one book that came out entitled Fence Redemption.
Let's do it.
It's all the rage
It
this
only makes
episode.
sense.
I
It's
mean,
sold out, has an exclusive cover.
it had
Uh,
FOC. Yeah, it's
we've
sold
all
out. It's got a second printing. It's got a
now
exclusive variant on the website.
I
It's
will
yeah,
say when I put the title of the show talking about Fence Redemption #1,
yeah,
I always do it because I always put the book that is the either the new series or something I know that we're super interested in and everything. I really didn't pay attention. I named it first and then put our show notes together. Did
there you
not realize
go.
how
Yep.
much it was gonna
It
be
was
all
it's
over our show notes.
very much of the talk of the episode. Yes.
All right, so
Um,
let's dive into it.
I want to note that this is, I believe, the first Boom Box book we've had in a little while.
Oh, in a very long time, yes.
Yeah, we haven't. Once upon a time, we were all about the Boombox
Oh,
imprint
for sure. Oh,
when it first started.
oh,
There was
yes, I
this little
there's so
little
many
book that
books.
comes to mind about some people and looking for gold in space, and
Yes. I love that book.
that sticks in
Joyride
my
is
mind with
so good. Oh, no,
Boombox.
Midas Flesh. Midas
Midas, yeah,
Flesh, yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, but Joyride was part of that too, that was
yes,
great.
it was.
Wasn't Mamo, like, the last no, there had to
Oh,
have been one since then.
I don't know. We'd have to look
Yeah.
back and see.
Yeah, but yeah, Boombox we don't get we just don't get as many of
No.
those books as we did in the past, and I'm really kind of upset about that.
I
There's
wanna
so
I
many
wanna
good
dig in
books.
the box and break out some Boomtown books
Oh, geez.
because there weren't very many
No, there weren't. I'd
before
have to go
they
back and look to even see which were.
before they moved on from that imprint, but I
Yeah.
always thought Boomtown,
Wow.
that's a cool name, but okay. So, as we have said before, this was created by C.S. Paquette and Joanna the Mad because it is written by C.S. Paquette and illustrated by Joanna the Mad, and I apologize if I'm butchering those names. Someone please let me know, and I'll make the corrections.
See, I'm putting them up on the screen so you can see where we screw up. I
Oh,
thought that would
there
be
there
nice.
you go, yep. Everybody's like, "No, that's pronounced."
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Uh,
Help us out.
colors are by Joanna Lafuente, letters by Jim Campbell, designer by is Veronica Gutierrez. Now, we also had a technical consultant, which I'm assuming is because of the fencing
Mhm. Makes
nomenclature
sense.
and concepts, which I thought was very heavy in this
There's a
issue.
lot
There,
of it, yeah.
yeah, I believe that's Peter Leuenberg, I'll say, and Mr. Leuenberg. If I said it a second time and butchered it, I apologize. School logo designs by Fawn Lau, and looks like five variants in the main cover, so at
Yep.
least 6 covers. So we open and we have this woman and that woman and the coaches. No, I'm kidding. Um, we have the coach of our group, and we have. Do you recognize the Caucasian woman, Chris?
Uh,
I assume
no.
she is a coach also, and I don't know if she's
Oh, she's one of the other coaches,
the,
yeah.
of in this club or of another group.
That I can't remember because
I
that's
think
been a long time.
yeah, they never directed her at anybody, but I
Yeah,
believe that what we're dealing with here at the Halverton training camp, which is our first caption, day 3, um, that there is more than one quote unquote team here.
yeah.
One is Halverton, but the other team has a really cool nickname or a name, and I forget what it is.
Oh, Kings Row?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that is the darker skinned woman. She's the head coach for Kings Row. So I'm wondering if this woman with the faux ascot is well, she's related to Freddie Prince Jr. by way of Scooby Doo, but that didn't sound good. Um, I apologize. There was a noise in the background that was
That's
not a
never good.
normal noise that houses make. So I'm not sure what
Hopefully,
it
you're
was.
not being swatted.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That would be funny. I think I would laugh if that was happening. Wow. Um, so we get some quick introductions here to some names for folks that if this was their first introduction to fence, we're thrown out Algernon, Sebastian, a couple of the fencers here. Nicholas, we get on the second page. I mean, they're popping out names because people are talking, and it it's going to be a little bit of a displacement if you haven't read any of the previous volumes.
Yeah,
Um, by the end of this volume, you'll have a decent handle on the names and who the people are because there's not a vast number, but they just start throwing them out from the beginning.
oh, I
So
think
the
they do a
assumption
great
is,
job at that. Yeah.
yeah, if this is your first sampling of this, by the end of this issue, you're probably pretty good to go.
Mhm.
But from the very beginning, the assumption is that this is not your first foray
Yeah.
into the fence world or the fencing world, or yeah, however you want to say that. So basically, what it is they're preparing for one of their bigger matches against a rival club. Now, when the series first started, I thought, if my recollection is correct, that it was a school fencing team that we were introduced to.
Mhm.
But now it seems like they have, and I apologize, I have not kept up with everything. I read the first 12 issues.
Yeah, yeah,
The subsequent trades I did not read.
yeah. I haven't read 4 or
Um,
5 yet.
but it seems that they have moved from the high school type environment to a true club
Mhm.
environment,
Yeah,
which would mean to me that these fencers have, or at least the fencers that we're following, have increased in ability because
yeah.
school teams will have to pretty much accept anybody if they want to go out. A club team doesn't. They can be a lot pickier, a lot choosier as to who is the travel team. So
Mhm.
but we're getting used to getting introduced to some of the original people. Some other names I don't recognize, so they probably have come up in the subsequent volumes. Moving on, we see that they're competing for. Um, when I was in band, we called it seats. You would
Mhm.
compete for seats like you have in an orchestra, but they're calling it a ladder or the ladder,
Yeah.
one or the other. But so basically, it's a placing of the fencers.
Mhm.
The top of the ladder is the best fencer, and the bottom of the ladder is the least best.
Yeah.
Not necessarily worst, because again, I think we're in a situation where everybody here is good.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. For
so
sure, yeah.
there's more good and less good, but everybody's good to really butcher the English language. More good and less
More
good.
good, best good,
Yeah, gooder,
roundabout good.
goodest. Yeah, okay. Um, so going through, we're getting some introductions to personalities. Um, we're getting some introductions to the coaches and the way that they go about things. We see some of the matches as they're trying to position themselves in this latter latter. I don't know why I said it that way. Ladder situation. First match is between Nicholas Cox and Emmett Scott. We see they seem, at first I thought they were going to be pretty evenly matched, but did they show a score? Yeah, it was 5-0. So
Yeah.
and it was the first to five. So they weren't really evenly matched in this particular encounter. I forget what they call it in fencing, where they. But um, so one of the fencers we find out is working on a particular move, and here about halfway, nah, about a third. What is it? No, about halfway through the book, we're given our first fencing lesson. Now it's going to be really cool if they do something like this in every issue, because I felt much more educated about fencing after this than I did before.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've watched it. I've watched Olympic level. Um, I knew what they were talking about when they told us about foil and saber and epee. I knew that there were different styles there, and we're introduced to that here. But the concept is that one of the fencers is having a difficult time with low moves,
Yeah.
and the lesson for today is what that means. And it's a really well done lesson too. Uh, the definition of what low is explained to us, and then we're shown that for the foil, saber, and epee, I'll say techniques. I don't know if that's the correct differentiation between these. The area involved in the low line target that they show us is very different, and we see illustrations of that. We are dealing with the epee, again, style. Um, so the issue that the fencer is having is basically protecting his entire lower half of his body.
Mhm.
That's what has to be protected in epee for a low line. That can be anything from the big toe to the soles of the feet to the back of the calf, um, all the way up to the basically the waistline. So, and then the coach takes over our explanation and explains to us why it, first of all, is important, but why it is so difficult. And oftentimes, fencers really aren't able to fully develop the skills to protect the lower half of their body. So that's what I thought was interesting. I had not necessarily considered like our although it makes perfect sense, our geometry lesson here about
Mhm.
the straight line and then down. It's like, well, unless you take a step closer, you're going to be farther away by pointing down.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, okay, that actually makes sense. So that was kind of cool. So then we go back.
I bet you didn't think you were gonna learn something when you started to read a comic
No,
today.
no, I did not. Not about fencing, really.
Not
I
about
mean,
fencing, yeah.
you know. Uh, so then we see further contests between those same two fencers, Nicholas Cox and Emmett Scott. Both of them have already made the team. So basically, they're just fencing for position on the team. Again, because they have a big match coming up against Exton, which I remember being another high school initially. But if we're dealing with club fencing, so I probably need to go back and read that first series to kind of, I mean, that's just been years, literally,
Mhm.
ago. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, but Exton is the name of the fencing group that is coming in that is going to be facing off against Kings Row, apparently, which is a subset, I think, of the overall group that we've been watching. And so that's why initially there were two coaches. So I guess the one coach is either over everybody or the majority, and then the other coach is the coach over Kings Row.
Mhm.
And the Kings Row are the best of the fencers that we're following.
Yeah.
Um, and that's pretty much this issue. Now I know that is not the best description, but um, honestly, talking too much about it gives a lot away because
Yeah.
it's a very upfront story. I mean, there's not really anything that you have to kind of suss out or anything deeper that we can talk about. I think what is going on right here in the panels is what is going on. And so if I were to talk too much about it, then why in the world would you want to go out and read the book? Which
Yeah.
is
True.
what we want you to do, is to grab the book and read it. But yeah, so I guess this 4 issues is going to probably be, well, I don't know. I could see it being just about this one match, but I don't know. Next issue, the match could be over and we move on.
Yeah.
You know, the other 2 issues. It's hard to say, but it's 4 issues. The first issue here sets up some intrigue right at the beginning, and then we're left with the come back next time and see what happens. I will say something I noticed is I got, just from all aspects of this book, a very anime manga flavor,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
very much in the style of the storytelling and the artwork. It has very much the flavor of anime slash manga. So that was pretty cool. I enjoy both of those. So
Yeah, I was a little surprised, um, that we're volume 6 now. If you want, if we're going by trade paperbacks, although that first 12 issues you felt like one volume, but either way,
yeah.
um, but that this series hasn't like produced some sort of animated show at this point, because the characters, I mean, a lot of these characters are the same ones that we saw in the first series.
Hmm.
So it's been this, massive ongoing tale about, them, and this is a team, this is a family. These are folks that, are, you know, spending a lot of time together. They're, some are interested in others, some are dating others, some have formed, or once dated others, and some had, there's a lot of drama, sort of that, that sort of uh, teenage angst kind of thing going on. I mean, just there's a lot going on in this that was really sort of fun to read. And the art style, like you said, is very, anime esque. And so it was, for me, being a fan of that art style, I was kind of digging it. Um, but yeah, I had kind of, Fence has been one of those things. Having only read the first 12 issue series, just I didn't keep up with it for whatever reason. Just wasn't on my radar, and I'm kind of upset about that. Kind of kind of would like to go back and pick up that volume 4 and volume 5 just to see what I missed out on.
Doing a quick search on a website that comes up, Anime Dash Planet, find a listing of 12 fencing related anime slash manga. So
Really?
perhaps that's why Fence hasn't moved forward, because maybe that particular niche is full at the moment.
It's
I,
covered, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not definitely not saying that to put anything down, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I read definitely, I think, my share of manga, and I was nowhere near aware that there were that many that were
Yeah.
fencing based or touched on fencing. So
Yeah.
that's kind of surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely is. So I was
But now
completely
doing
unaware.
this for like say a Disney or a Netflix or something like that, something strictly American,
Yeah.
using this anime manga flavor, I could see that, and I would be curious as to why. You know,
Yep.
for the strictly American audiences, why nobody, particularly coming out of Boom, why nobody has picked that up.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good one to do.
Well, I mean, looking at the book, you can see they're kind of a lot of the way towards that style of thing, anyways.
Well,
So,
yeah, the influence is definitely there, obviously. So,
I would think the adapting it would be merely into moving pictures rather than the static 2D ones that we have.
yeah.
Otherwise, a lot of what you need is already there.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of the thing too. It's like kind of reading through it. I mean, I do this with a lot of the comics. Um, I put my own voices and stuff like that to the. I mean, because like I said, I said earlier, I listen to a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
a lot of times, the narrator is providing some kind of inflection or different
Right.
voice. I do the same thing in my head when I read stuff. Um, so yeah, this was a lot of fun echoing around in my head. So,
Maybe highlighting this during um, LGBTQ plus month, maybe that will be it will gain a little bit of prominence
yeah,
in eyes, although everybody that would do anything is on strike right now. So I mean,
Australia. Gosh
bo-
darn
both
writer strike.
both
Just
the
pay the
creators
people. Come on.
and now the actors apparently are going to be. They
Yeah,
agreed to, but I don't think they declared it yet. So I don't
yeah,
know what that. But yeah, basically everybody that would do anything other than the people who wrote this already
right.
are sitting down right now. So hmm,
Oh well.
yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good book. If you haven't had a chance to read this, it starts off like I said, it starts off very well, introduces everybody. You don't need to be someone who was reading this from the very beginning,
Mhm.
the original series or anything like that. You're easily caught up on things, previous dramas and stuff like that that are relevant to this particular story are brought up and sort of just enough is told to you. It's definitely goes, as we say, it definitely uses the Claremont mentality. This is definitely someone's first issue.
Right.
So
Right.
you're introduced and you're, to people and introduced to situations and relationships. And now it's hit the ground running. So definitely go check it out. Apparently enough people have checked it out that it's in second printing. So
Yeah. There you go.
so
Yep.
we'll see if next week if it hits third printing. So, but definitely a good book and a nice start to this series. So. All right, so let's jump over to Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, number 6. This is Jason Aaron. His series, again, we said this earlier. It is, if you don't know anything about this book, this is his first book at Boom, and he is writing a 15 issue story that is broken up into 3 story arcs. Each arc, 5 issues, is drawn by a different artist. So this particular issue is illustrated by, or this arc is illustrated by Leila Del Duca, colored by Tamara Bonvillain, and the pages 1 and 26 are illustrated by Alexandre uh, Tefekinji. I,
Tef-
I
Tefenki.
butchered that. I apologize.
Tefenki.
And then,
Alexandre Tefenki.
yeah, that sounds a little bit better. And then colored by Lee Lurich. And logo designer is Jared K. Fletcher, and designer is Madison Goyette. And we have a number of variant covers. Jenny Frison is all over this bad boy
Mhm.
with her covers. So good stuff. Again, this is book 2, chapter 6. Um, for those of you who have not read the first 5 issue arc, whatever, that's where we get introduced to we get introduced to Mezzi and Maceo. Mezzi is uh, they're together now. At the beginning of the story, first issue, they were
Oh yeah,
um,
they weren't remotely
uh,
together.
yeah, they didn't want anything to do with one another. Well, Maceo did. He just wanted adventure. He'd been living in a tower there in an apocalyptic wasteland at this point. They're the people that are around them are either dead or they're mutated. There are some other survivors. Mezzi is part of a group of uh, preppers who sort of took it to the outer limit level of being a prepper and stuff like that. And so she, escaped her. The, she goes by this book. In the book, one of the verses in the book was saying, and it's this group's Bible. And so one of the verses that it said something along the lines of, "Do whatever it necessary to survive." And so she explained in one of those issues that in order for her to survive, she had to escape them.
Right.
And so that was sort of her mentality. She still sort of latched on to their mentality for most of the first 5 issues. She eventually kind of came around to Maceo, and then the two of them became closer and everything. And then so it's just they're on a journey, or she's on a journey to this place called the Oasis, which she was told is sort of is just that. It's an oasis in this wasteland.
May
Uh,
may I make a connection?
sure.
For those of you that are familiar with Black Badge from Boom, think of
Mhm.
Mezzi as like a member of the ultimate Black Badge group.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think were they called the Wasteland Scouts or something like that?
Wasteland Rangers, I think.
Rangers,
Yeah,
and the book Chris is alluding to is kind of like their Boy Scout manual,
yeah,
only elevated a million times.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's good. That's a good call. Because they are dressed very similarly
mm,
to
to
Boy Scouts.
to scouts, yeah,
Yeah,
when we see them, she kind of is or isn't when you first see her, but then because she has escaped the group, and you're not supposed to, the group comes looking for her.
yeah,
And when we see the rest of her group, you see the Boy Scout resemblance much
yeah.
more than you did just from her, from because she's, like Chris said, doing whatever she has to do to survive. So she has all this other gear and she's dressed all this
Yeah.
other stuff. Whereas they, when they come looking for her, are dressed more in their standard stuff
Mhm.
that they wear. So
Yeah. Um, Now, one thing that we did get a lot of in the previous 5 issues was a flash forward
mm, mhm.
to Macy, which we don't get in this issue. Which I don't remember if we got it in every issue of 1 through 5, but we got it at least in the first issue and a couple of other issues. I don't know if it was every
Either,
issue.
yeah, either 3 or 4 of the 5
Yeah, so it
issues.
was quite a few.
I don't know every issue, but yeah.
So we get this flash forward, and I won't go into what the details of that is because I think it's worthwhile reading it to sort of get that. And I think it also has a larger impression on the how you perceive the characters too, now as well as how they are at that flash forward. Um,
Probably the biggest thing to take away is that at least most of those flash forwards, I guess.
yeah,
I think that first issue, the first chapter, the point of reference is now. We're watching things as they occur,
okay,
but it does flash forward, and when it does, you see a much older Maceo,
oh yeah, yeah,
which is who they focus on.
yeah,
Um, so the present, and then this one is a little bit farther on from the present, but it's nowhere near that version of Maceo that we have seen in
yeah,
those flash forwards. So it's
yeah,
like a very young adult, or maybe even teen tween in the first arc.
hmm,
Here, they're more like adultish, Whereas, like I say, that Maceo it was a, the old grizzled veteran
Yeah.
looking kind
Oh,
of
yeah, yeah, he was
character.
definitely much
So
older.
yeah,
Or he
so
definitely had been through a lot
or
at
yeah,
that
he was
point.
aged either physically or actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So this issue we catch up with the two of them. They're still wandering the wastelands. The I guess sort of the gist of this issue is this whole issue is sexy time. There is nothing but sex throughout this entire issue. But it's not to the point where it's like gratuitous or anything like that. It's just like they get to wherever they're going to a certain stopping point, and then they stop for a couple days, have sex, kind of eat, replenish, move on. It's just part of their process. And they meet other folks along the way. Some of them are, like I said before, are those crazy people, and then they've got to defend themselves or they've got to just sort of avoid them. But then other folks are kind of like them. They're just people who are just trying to survive. And so they meet up with them and sort of hang out with them for a little bit so that they can have some interactions with some other quote unquote normal people. And and then they all kind of split and go about their own ways and stuff.
which is very interesting because you really were not led to believe in the first volume that anything like that was possible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The impression the impression I got was almost exclusively the people you see in this book is all that there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else has been mutated or
Yeah.
they're not normal people. Although
Right.
you could say that a lot of those people in
Oh
that
yeah,
first
when they
issue were not
revealed that they
normal.
had run
So
across like sort of normal people in
yeah,
this issue, I was a little shocked. I was like,
I was like,
"Oh,
what?
okay." This
There's
whole
more
time
folks
I
like you
thought
out
like,
there.
yeah, they were on their way to the Oasis because that was it.
Yeah, yeah. So okay,
So,
kind of a I thought kind of a major um just drop in information there. I mean,
yeah.
because it was so not that way in the first chapter, and now in the second chapter, it obviously is that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no, you know, connection or anything. It's just like, oh well, here it is. This is the way it is, and
Yep.
so
And that's kind of the gist of this whole issue. It's just sort of them traveling and, stopping at a place, resting, picking back up and moving forward. Now, uh, we still get a couple of things. Mezzy still is listening to the headset that she's not let Maceo listen to yet,
mm,
which is the dude who told her about the Oasis. He's because they're um, I don't know if I really want to describe that scene. That's sort of a very powerful character moment for Mezzy that I really think you should probably read for the first time. But but she spoke with this guy who gave her instructions on where the Oasis is.
she uses a particular technique to elicit information.
Yes, for the most
And
part,
she records the
and
process
she
so that
records
the
it all.
information that she gets, she doesn't lose. She has. So
Yeah,
that's what she's listening to is her process of getting this
yeah,
information.
and she struggles with it a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, she struggles with it a lot now. Back in the first arc, she didn't. She
no,
was numb to it. She was just like, "This is what had to happen. This is how this works." Um, but yeah, so like I said, they just kind of it's an issue of sort of traveling and running into people and stuff like that. And then, the end of the issue, they they feel like they've arrived at Oasis.
they got there. Yeah, so
And
it's
so, which was interesting because I really thought that was sort of going to be the point of the whole series was them getting to there. And we get there supposedly. We're not 100% sure. But based off of what Mezzy's describing from what she was told, based off landmarks, stuff like that, this is it. And so are there other people there? I don't know. We don't see anybody else there, but we're just kind of like giving us, we're only given like 2 pages, So next issue will obviously give us more to it. Um, So the one thing that I've enjoyed a lot with the last arc and sort of the idea when this book got announced was that we're getting 3 different artists. And even knowing who the artists were, because they announced who they were shortly after they announced the book, I was worried, not worried, I was more curious how well their art styles were going to meld to one another. Was this going to be, was it going to sort of be, jarring from arc to arc as we see sort of different art styles? And I don't think that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing at least 2 artists that their styles are similar enough. Because I even went back and sort of flipped through the previous arc just to kind of get a feel for, remind myself at the beginning of the series what was going on and stuff like that,
Right.
and sort of compare it to how this arc begins too. Um, but art styles that meld very well with one another, so it's sort of this nice cohesive, art direction. Yeah, it's some time has passed. The kids are now a bit older and stuff like that. But you know, it's just that. It's just this is just a little bit down further down the road, and the art style sort of plays well into that. So, um, I think it's a good issue. I think it's been a really good book up to this point. The first arc did give us a lot of sort of teasers of things that are coming in the future. Um, how much this particular arc, 5 issues, uh, will tell us, I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. So yeah, so I think it's a pretty good issue.
I think it's a good follow-up to the first, chapter,
Hmm.
the story, the artwork. The aforementioned Lee Bermejo book had more differences in back-to-back art styles by
Hmm.
Lee Bermejo than these 2 completely separate artists have, I thought. Now, of course, he did that on purpose, but
Right. Yeah.
my point is that this is a much smoother transition between the 2 than a lot of what Bermejo did
Yeah.
in one issue. So, these 2 artists so far have, if this is strictly their own styles, if they haven't changed any to, uh, attempt to line up a little bit better,
Hmm.
then these 2 artists have very, very similar styles.
Yeah. Now, and I didn't think about it until just now, but the very last page of the book,
Mhm.
last panel, is uh, is a zoomed in shot of their feet, obviously on the ground, and there's a crack, and there's a audible,
The crack is
like,
forming.
it's forming. Now, if you look here on this cover that I have up on the screen, they're laying down what can assume is that exact same crack that's just much larger at this point.
I
Is
I guess this is a scene after they have married,
I for the
wh
four hundredth time.
which is what they call it, yeah.
Yeah.
"Marry
So
me in the oasis?"
that is true. Yeah, they do. That is
Yeah,
how they reference it.
that's
Uh, so when I heard when I heard Oasis, I had Ready Player One stuff in my head too. I was like, this is not, I don't know. This is completely opposite. Um, but yeah, I'm curious if that was if we're drawn to this crack for some reason at the last panel. Is this crack on the cover something to do with that, or is it just you know me wanting to make connections where there aren't any? So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
also, as you have pointed out the cover now, looking at the cover a little more closely, I wonder what the deal is with these glinting gemstones that are laying around them that are similar to the glinting gemstones that are on the necklace that she's wearing.
That's a good question. I don't
I
know.
I wonder if in their marrying, her necklace got broken, or if I there's a point to it, though. I
Yeah,
mean, it's purposeful, so
yeah, yeah. And that, yeah, that's kind of, yeah. now, now having seen all that, I'm like, am I gonna have to go back and look for other those? No, we'll just kind of hold off, or at least I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no,
hold
I
off
don't.
to the
Yeah,
next issue.
I
It's that rabbit hole. How far do you want to go down it?
no, I don't think a lot of that stuff was done really throughout the issue. There was more marrying time
Yes,
than
there's a lot of
anything else. So,
yes, lots of so yeah. I mean, we get it from like right, just and I really do dig the art style, and I dig the I mean the line work of it is super clean.
mhm,
There's not a it's not a lot of fluff to it. I do really like I honestly, if I could have, I don't know if I could have a page of art. I just like the simplicity of this very first page of the issue, because it is such a stark difference for how issue one started,
mhm.
um,
Oh yeah,
as far
yeah,
as
yeah.
their relationship goes. So it is very, very different. So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say.
That's
I
it.
could just
Yeah,
repeat over and over again how good the book is. So yeah, so this is so boom. I'm will need you to sort of level the release schedule out here a little bit, so we have more books to
to talk
talk
about.
about.
Yeah, but not
I'm,
too many.
right, yeah, yeah. I'm still very fearful of the days that are coming. So
Five to 10 a week is not going to work
yeah,
either.
oh,
So
man, you managed to roll that whole episode up in an hour and 15 minutes, and I think we sort of blubbered on about Chris's back issue hunting for a good 10 or 12 minutes prior to that. This is
a
going to
little
be a
bit
pretty
got
fast
got some
episode.
news in there,
Yeah.
and
So
yeah,
but yeah, so I guess we'll just start closing out. So if you can come by the website,
yeah,
boomaddiction.com. Yes, there are no season 4 episodes posted, but if you go back and look, there's a lot of season 1 episodes posted. So
hmm,
those are in there. So we're going backwards. So so I did notice too, I am missing a couple episodes, like the audio files. I don't know where they are. So Chris is hunting those down. So either way, those will continue to be posted on the website. You can email us if you'd like to and ask us questions and things like that we can bring up here on the show. Email us at boomaddiction@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. You can follow me at Chris Barton. And if the email is not a place that you like to send stuff, Twitter is the best place to do it. You can either DM us or you can just at reply us, and we will be more than happy to stop whatever mundane thing we're doing at work to get a slight distraction and talk with folks about comics. Come on the forum, which is justanotherfanboy.freeforums.net. Come by the Facebook group, which is Fans of Boom Studios. Just search for that on Facebook. And those are all the ways you can find us and keep up with us and all that other stuff. Um, that's it. Ed, you got anything to add?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, everybody who joined us in the chat, who's been watching us live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, I appreciate all of you for joining us. Those of you who are listening to us on the podcast after the fact, or even watching the video after the fact, thank you very much. Appreciate it. You can just tell your friends about us. That'd be cool.
That
You
would be
just say,
cool.
hey, this is a decent podcast who likes to talk about comics. That'd be the best. I'm we we need we need more boom. We need a comics boom. Hyper Potato in the chat is telling us. No doubt. They've got them. Don't worry. They're just
Yeah,
staggering the shipping.
they're just, and plus too, they have plenty of things in the pipeline. We know they're just easing them out, which they
Yep.
said several years ago is what they would do.
Yep. Good for that. So, but then that's it. So, Ed, as always, thank you, sir, for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch all of you next week for episode number 6.
Ciao.
Goodbye. All right. And we're out.
All right.
Doug, you have a great night too. We're wrapping it up kind of early. Again, only had a couple books to talk about, which is always good. I'm probably good. I had some really, really spicy barbecue with my chicken tonight,
Oh, cool.
and my brain is very foggy right now. I did not know if I was going to do the show. because I grilled the chicken and I was like, sweet, let's go eat this like very, it's not Carolina Reaper or anything like that, but it was pretty hot and my mouth was burning to the
Oh,
point
wow.
where I
Okay.
was like, I have not burned myself that bad with hot sauce enough. I cannot remember. And so I was like, I'm going to sit here and drink some milk and hopefully I can do the show.
Yep.
So
Try to
we're all
calm
good.
this down.
Yes. So, yeah. All right. We're going to end the broadcast. Again, everybody, thanks for joining us in all the
Doug
streaming
Hyper, thanks
places.
for joining us.
And we will see y'all next week.